my friend. Welcome to this podcast on the Daily English Podcast channel. What if I told you that the absolute most intense, high-stakes negotiation of your entire day happens, like before you even open your eyes?
And it sounds a bit overly dramatic when you frame it exactly like that.
Right.
But biologically and, psychologically, it is completely true.
Yeah.
We tend to think of our daily routine as something super mundane.
Just a boring list of tasks, really.
Exactly, just stuff you have to do. But the moment you wake up, your brain is immediately thrust into this fairly massive psychological battle.
And that is exactly our mission for this deep dive today. We are exploring the surprisingly profound reality of our daily routines.
Yeah, we've got a fascinating stack of research here.
We really do. And what's brilliant about it is that it uses very accessible, everyday English vocabulary. Words like snooze and cluttered and cozy. But we are going to use these foundational words to unpack the highly complex, universal experience of just, well, getting through a normal day.
Right. Because getting through a normal day actually takes a tremendous amount of cognitive work. It's not easy.
No, it's really not.
We're going to look at the nervous system shock of the alarm clock and the actual mechanism of why a morning coffee acts as this emotional support system.
Oh, I need that support system.
We all do. And we'll also look at the very specific neurological shift that happens the second you take off your shoes at night.
So they jump right into that first moment. The alarm clock.
The dreaded alarm.
Right. It's not just a loud noise. It's described in this research as a, quote, big attack on the soul, which is just such a great phrase.
It really is.
But why does a simple beeping sound cause such a visceral, almost, angry reaction in us?
Well, because it is literally an attack on your nervous system.
Wow. Literally an attack.
Yeah. When that alarm goes off, it violently pulls you out of a sleep cycle. Your brain just isn't operating on logic yet.
So it's not thinking about the schedule.
Not at all. It's operating on pure survival instinct. The immediate cognitive response to that sudden noise isn't, oh, hey, I have a meeting at 9 a.m.
No, the response is simply no. Just no.
Exactly, no. It's the abrupt, harsh demand of reality crashing into a very vulnerable subconscious state.
The vulnerability is so real. And then, the literal negotiations begin.
Oh, the bargaining?
Yes. There's this fantastic anecdote in the material where a person really has a full-blown conversation with their heavy blanket.
I love this part.
So the blanket says, stay, and the person says, I must go make coffee.
And the blanket counters with, are you sure that is real life?
It's hilarious, but also kinda deeply true.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's a funny story, but it highlights something vital about human consciousness.
How so?
In those first few seconds of waking up, you are quite literally debating the merit of existence with your bedding.
That is so wild to think about. Debating existence with a blanket.
Right. Your brain is trying to weigh the comfort of the known, which is the warm bed, against the demands of the unknown day ahead.
And usually the outcome of this daily battle is just a draw. You do get up, but you do it very, very slowly.
Yeah, if you even get up at all.
Exactly. Because this brings us to the ultimate trap, which is the snooze button.
Ah, yes, the snooze trap.
We tell ourselves that famous lie, just 5 more minutes.
And then 5 becomes 20.
And 20 becomes 30. I used to think of the snooze button as this terrible time machine that just transports you to a panicked future.
That's a really good analogy.
But reading through the science here, it's actually much worse than just losing time, isn't it? It's more like restarting a computer.
Yeah, that is a much more accurate way to look at it scientifically.
Walk me through that.
Well, when you hit snooze and let your eyes flutter shut again, your brain doesn't just, hit pause.
It doesn't.
No, it actually initiates a brand new full sleep cycle.
Oh, wow.
It thinks, oh, great, we are going back to sleep for hours.
Yeah.
So it releases all the neurochemicals designed to keep you deeply unconscious.
So it's literally starting the reboot process from scratch.
Exactly. And then, 5 or 10 minutes later, the alarm screams again.
Right.
You are essentially pulling the power plug out of the wall right in the middle of a computer's reboot sequence.
That sounds incredibly jarring.
It is. You force your brain to wake up while it's flooded with deep sleep chemicals. And that phenomenon is called sleep inertia.
Sleep inertia. Okay, so that totally explains why after 3 snoozes, I don't feel rested at all.
You feel worse.
Way worse. I actually feel physically heavier. Sometimes I even feel sick. It's like I've just borrowed time from my future self at a terrible physiological interest rate.
Precisely. Which brings us to why our very first coherent thought when waking up is often, do I really need to be an adult today?
Oh, I ask myself that question entirely too
Well,
often.
we all do. Because that phrase perfectly captures the sudden, crushing weight of responsibility.
Adulthood is heavy.
It really is. Adulthood requires constant, active participation. The buffer of sleep is gone, and the brain is just actively resisting that participation.
I read one strategy in the sources here that I found surprisingly helpful for combating that exact feeling.
Oh, the verbal reset.
Yes. It suggested that when you put your feet on the floor, you just say out loud, "Good morning, disaster, let's try again."
I love that. It's incredibly honest.
It really is.
Yeah.
But why does saying that actually help?
Well, what that phrase does is it lowers the psychological stakes.
Okay, lowering the stakes.
Yeah, you aren't demanding a perfectly optimized, productive morning of yourself. You are just acknowledging that life is a bit chaotic.
Right.
And you're agreeing to participate in it anyway.
Just giving it a shot. But, agreeing to participate is really just step one.
Sadly, yes.
Because even when you physically defeat the blanket, the war isn't over. Your feet hit the floor, and instantly a new enemy attacks, which is your own thoughts.
It's a mental barrage.
Exactly. You haven't even brushed your teeth yet, and suddenly you are hit by this feeling of being completely overwhelmed.
Right. And the vocabulary shifts here in the research from physical tiredness to mental burden. The word used is cluttered. Your head immediately fills with thoughts about work deadlines or financial stress or, unanswered messages from yesterday.
And the research uses this incredibly vivid metaphor to describe that cluttered feeling. They call it mental laundry.
Such a powerful image.
I want to spend some time on this because it clicked for me instantly. What exactly makes our thoughts act like laundry?
Well, think about dirty clothes scattered all over a bedroom floor.
Okay, I can picture that. It's a mess.
Right. When thoughts act like mental laundry, they aren't categorized. They aren't folded or put away neatly in drawers.
They're just everywhere.
Exactly. A stressful work email is tangled up with a reminder to buy milk, which is piled on top of, say, anxiety about a family member. Everything is everywhere all at once.
So it's the lack of organization that makes it overwhelming.
Cognitively speaking, yes. Your working memory is completely overloaded trying to process all these unorganized tasks simultaneously.
It just looks like a giant mess you have to clean up before the day even starts.
Precisely. And instead of cleaning it up, what do most of us do in that exact moment?
Oh, we'd reach over and grab our phones?
Yep. The famous morning scroll trap.
The scroll trap. I mean, I understand that scrolling social media isn't great, obviously, but why is it so uniquely damaging first thing in the morning?
It comes down to your nervous system baseline.
Okay, explain that a bit more.
When you first wake up, your brain is like a blank slate trying to establish its emotional baseline for the day.
It's figuring out how to feel.
Right. So when you immediately open a feed, you are forcing your brain to process hundreds of data points
Like opinions, global news.
and social comparisons,
Yeah.
all before it is fully booted up.
You're basically handing a megaphone to the mental laundry.
That is a brilliant way to put it. A megaphone for the laundry.
It really feels like that.
You are lying in bed feeling restless because you've allowed external, totally uncontrollable demands to hijack your nervous system.
Even though nothing in the actual room has changed?
Exactly. Nothing in your physical room has actually changed, but your brain is now reacting to threats and comparisons from all over the world.
Okay, so if the morning scroll is the trap, how do we build a defense against it?
Well, the solution proposed in the Deep Live sources is establishing positive anchors.
Positive anchors, like small physical actions.
Exactly.
But I have to push back a bit on the examples given in the research.
Okay, let's hear it.
One of the anchors is just opening the curtains.
Right.
I hear that, but practically speaking, when I'm exhausted and overwhelmed, opening a curtain feels like a huge chore. How does simply looking at daylight actually change my anxiety or sort out my mental clutter?
That's a fair question.
Yeah.
It's not a magic cure for anxiety, obviously,
Yeah.
but is a biological trigger.
A biological trigger? How so?
Opening the curtains exposes your eyes to natural sunlight, and that directly communicates with the circadian clock in your brain.
Oh, so it's a physical signal.
Exactly. It immediately halts the production of melatonin, which is the sleep hormone, and signals that the transition period is officially over.
So waiting around is done.
Right. By physically interacting with the daylight, you anchor your body in the present reality of the new day. You're no longer floating in that anxious, weird space between sleep and wakefulness.
So it's forcing the biology to catch up with the clock. That actually makes a lot of sense.
It does.
But let's talk about the ultimate anchor, the one that feels truly magical to me. Coffee.
Ah, yes. The emotional support friend.
Exactly. I know people who describe themselves as being in a, quote, serious relationship with their mug.
I might be one of those people.
Me too. But let's break down the mechanism here. Is it just the caffeine addiction waking us up, or is something deeper happening psychologically?
Well, the caffeine is absolutely a factor. We can't ignore that.
Sure.
But the psychological anchoring actually happens before the caffeine even hits your bloodstream.
Really? Before you even drink it?
Yeah. It's about sensory grounding. When you walk to the kitchen and wrap your hands around a warm mug, you are engaging your senses of touch and smell.
Mm.
And you're doing it in a very predictable, comforting routine.
So the routine itself is the anchor.
Yes. Think about it. The mental laundry is chaotic and unpredictable.
Very.
But the ritual of making coffee is entirely within your control. Sitting quietly and feeling the warmth of the mug shifts your psychological state.
It's like a moment of peace.
Exactly. It doesn't actually pay your bills or finish your work projects, but it gives you a sense of agency. It makes the day feel manageable instead of overwhelming.
You are building a tiny fortress of sanity before the world gets to you.
A tiny fortress, I like that.
Okay, so we've established our anchors, we've survived the morning scroll trap, we've had the coffee,
We are ready.
and we go out into the world, and the middle of the day is a whole different beast.
Oh, completely.
It's the fast pace, the noise, the office politics, the traffic, the school runs.
It's a lot.
We spend 8 to 10 hours out there battling. We are presenting a very specific, armored version of ourselves to society.
Yes, the public persona.
But eventually, the sun goes down, we reach the finish line, we come back home.
And this is where the vocabulary shifts completely in the research. It goes from the language of tension to the language of release.
The release is the best part.
It is. The research zeroes in on that specific moment when the front door closes and locks behind you.
It's like your body almost whispers, "We made it."
Yes.
But it's not a victorious whisper, is it? It's usually followed by the sudden realization of being completely drained.
That's the exact word.
Not just physically tired from walking or working, but completely drained in the mind.
Right. And what you were feeling in that moment is the adrenaline drop.
Your adrenaline drop.
Yeah, because all day, your sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight response, has been subtly engaged.
Just to keep us going.
It's exactly to keep you alert, navigating traffic, dealing with coworkers. When that front door locks, the brain finally stops producing those stress hormones.
And so the sudden absence of adrenaline leaves you feeling hollowed out, or as we said, drained.
Completely drained.
So to cope with that drained feeling, we have these very specific routines to transition back into our real selves, don't we?
Oh, I do.
Like pressing the calm button by changing into what are universally known as home clothes.
Well, home clothes are essential.
They really are.
It's about changing out of the stiff fabrics, the collars, the belts you wore for the world, and into soft clothes meant only for you.
Right?
It is a literal shedding of your public persona. You are taking off the costume of your profession.
Which leads right into a concept from the sources that I think is absolutely profound, and that is barefoot peace.
Barefoot peace. It is a beautiful phrase, isn't it?
It's so poetic. Taking off your shoes is a tiny reset, but I really want to understand the mechanics of it. Why does taking off our shoes specifically trigger such a powerful sense of relief? I always compare it to a knight taking off a heavy suit of armor.
And that armor analogy is spot on from an evolutionary biology perspective.
Really? How so?
Well, shoes are a form of protection, right? They prepare us to run, to travel, to step on harsh terrain.
Right, they mean we are outside and active.
Exactly. When you are wearing shoes, your brain subconsciously knows you are prepared for action. Taking them off is a deliberate act of vulnerability.
Oh, wow. A deliberate act of vulnerability.
Yes, the physical sensation of your bare feet or socks on the floor of your own home sends a very clear sensory signal up to your brain.
And what's the signal?
The signal is, we no longer need to be ready to run. We are safe.
We are safe. The brain finally believes it.
It does.
And we reinforce that safety by manipulating our environment, right? Like the big, bright overhead lights get turned off immediately. Big, bright lights are the enemy of peace.
They truly, truly are.
So what do we do instead?
We switch to warm lamps, maybe light a candle. We aim for the concept of cozy.
Cozy, another great, simple English word that holds so much meaning.
Right. And again, this isn't just an aesthetic choice, it's a biological one.
Biology again.
Always.
Yeah.
Harsh overhead lighting mimics the midday sun, which keeps the brain alert. But dim, warm light mimics a campfire or a sunset. And that activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the part of your brain responsible for resting and digesting.
So by making the room cozy, we are chemically forcing our bodies to relax.
Yes.
I love how this research phrases it. It says that in that cozy space, the problems of the day haven't vanished, but, quote, they stop yelling.
Please stop yelling.
Yeah.
That is the ultimate goal of the evening sanctuary.
The problems are still there, though.
Of course. The emails are still in the inbox, the bills are still on the counter, but the warm light and the bare feet dial down the volume of the panic.
The volume goes down. I really like that. But this actually raises a really important question for me.
Yeah.
And I want to challenge this somewhat idealized version of an evening. Because let's be honest, a lot of our evenings are super messy.
Oh, totally. Real life isn't a movie.
Right. Sometimes we come home and we don't glide gracefully into barefoot peace. We eat a terrible dinner standing over the sink. We are grumpy with our partners. We end up doom scrolling on the couch instead of reading a book by lamplight.
Very true.
So the question is, do we only deserve this cozy barefoot rest if we had a perfectly productive, successful day?
That is a crucial question. And it's where people really trap themselves mentally.
How so?
The research answers this with a very emphatic no. There's a core truth highlighted here that I love. It says, you don't have to earn rest by being perfect all day. Your worth is not a homework score.
Wow. Your worth is not a homework score. That is heavy.
It is.
Because society really trains us to view rest transactionally, doesn't it?
Exactly. We view rest as a reward for good behavior. We think, I cleared my inbox, I went to the gym, therefore I have earned the right to relax on the couch.
But you're saying that's wrong.
It is a complete fallacy. Rest is a biological and psychological necessity. It is the baseline requirement for keeping a human being alive and functioning.
So even if I had a totally unproductive day, even if I hit the snooze button 3 times...
And suffered the sleep inertia.
Yes, and completely failed to conquer my mental laundry, I still deserve to take off the armor at the end of the day.
You don't just deserve it, you require it. The sanctuary of home is not some VIP lounge that you only get access to when you've been a perfect adult.
I love that, not a VIP lounge.
Right. It is the designated zone where you don't have to perform anymore. Allowing yourself to simply exist in that space, even if you are grumpy and tired, is how you heal the nervous system for the next day.
That completely reframes how I look at my living room now.
It changes everything.
It really does. So what does this all mean for you, listening to this right now? It means that your normal, everyday life is not boring at all.
Far from it.
It is a wildly complex psychological journey. The things you do every single day, the battles with the heavy blanket, the reliance on the sensory grounding of a coffee mug, that quiet sigh when you lock the front door. These are not trivial moments.
No, they are survival mechanisms.
They really are.
And exploring this through the lens of foundational English vocabulary, using simple words like clutter, drained, restless, and cozy, proves that language isn't just about grammar.
Right, it's about shared experience.
Exactly. These basic words map out deeply shared, universal human routines. We all have mental laundry. We all crave that barefoot peace. We're all just trying to navigate from the harshness of the alarm clock back to the safety of our warm lamps.
We really are. And speaking of navigating that journey, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over today.
A provocative thought.
Yes. We talked extensively about how taking off your shoes is this vital, physical, tiny reset for the body at the end of the day.
Right.
It physically signals to your brain that the battling is over. But what is the mental equivalent of that?
Oh, that's a good question.
What is the mental tiny reset you can actively give your mind tonight, right before you close your eyes, so that tomorrow morning you don't wake up to yesterday's mental laundry scattered all over the floor again?
That is a brilliant question. And frankly, a real challenge to reflect on tonight.
I think so too. Until next time, keep noticing those small moments.